Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm working on a 2.2 Ford Ranger diesel on the 2012 plate. Customer is complaining of going into limp mode and reduced power. It's been doing this on and off for a little while. Now I'm just going to plug into it and read the fault codes. Okay, these are the fault codes that have come up. As you can see, there is some glow plug issues, which won't be helping matters. Looks like glow plug module's gone down and possibly a couple of glow plugs. What I'm mainly going to be concentrating on today are these codes down here. So catalyst temperature too low during regeneration, bank 1. Diesel particulate filter force limited power. Diesel particulate filter soot accumulation. So that would suggest we've got a partially blocked DPF filter. But what I'm going to do today is show you what I've found with this one, which I think has contributed to the DPF filter actually blocking up, and attempt to do a regen and see how we get on. Okay, so underneath the Ford Ranger we've got pretty similar setup to the Transit. It's got a vaporizer in the front, then you've got your DPF unit back here. Quite accessible on the Ranger, which is good. You've got a couple of temperature sensors. That's one there, another one there. Now these I don't think are an issue at the moment. I suspect we've got a problem with the vaporizer, so our next job will be to remove this and inspect it and see what issues we find. There's a glow plug in here as well, and it also has its own fuel supply to the vaporizer, so we need to check that we're actually getting a good fuel supply to the vaporizer. It runs all the way through this pipe and has its own low pressure pump, which is here, and that's fed directly from the tank. So all this pump does is supply fuel for the vaporizer injector, or fifth injector, to help keep the DPF clear. So that's another thing we're going to have to check that's working correctly. Now to remove the vaporizer, that's a 22mm, so we're going to need a 22mm spanner. These are often seized, and this one was as well. As you can see, I'm loosening it off here, but I actually did have to use a Stilson's to get it undone because the spanner wouldn't touch it. I've had to heat these up in the past as well, but you might get lucky and yours might come out. If not, use a bit of heat, possibly Stilson's, as you can see there. Came in handy, and that worked for me on this one. So now we've got the vaporizer removed from the exhaust, we can have a look at it. As you can see on the side of the vaporizer, there's actually a small hole which the diesel is meant to pass through so it can get into the DPF and clean it. Now our hole is clear on this particular vaporizer, but they're quite often clogged with carbon. When they're clogged with carbon, obviously the diesel can't get through and it can't do its job of cleaning the DPF. Now that's obviously not blocked, but what I did find is that this wire, this is the main power to the glow plug in the vaporizer, had shorted out at some point. I believe the glow plug had gone short to earth and at some point it's burnt out, so that's not doing anything at all. It's not heating the diesel as it passes underneath it. So we're going to be changing the vaporizer on this one, which is about £300 from Ford. Now, before we put that back together, we need to check that fuel is actually getting to it. So the pump here on the Rangers is fairly open to the elements, especially if you've got one to use off-road. So it's just bolted on the side of the chassis here. So what we're going to do with this is activate it, and see if it's actually doing anything. Now I'm using the launch machine, but most of the diagnostic equipment these days can, if you go into the special functions, you should be able to activate that pump and see if it's actually doing anything. As you can see, I've got a lot of options here. So we'll activate it and see what happens. Now, if you do activate this, make sure you've got a bottle or something for it to pour into. In my case, it didn't matter anyway because the pump didn't work. So another issue with this vehicle. So along with the glow plug in the vaporizer, this pump had ceased to work entirely. Now, I believe these actually pulse rather than a constant flow of fuel through them, but this one was doing absolutely nothing. As you can see here, there's nothing coming out of it when it's activated. So unfortunately, we'll be changing this as well. And there you go, there's the new one in and fitted.
Okay,
and I've already put the new vaporizer in also. So next job, see if we can regen. Okay, so off it goes. So hopefully it will run through that okay and get the soot content down, and then we'll have to give it a road test and see how we get on. Okay guys, so we've done the road test and all seems to be well. Full power, driving very well indeed actually, and we've not got any warning lights, nothing like that on the dashboard. Seems nice and responsive, so that all seemed to go okay. So in my case, those codes are related to not only the vaporizer, where the glow plug seems to have gone open circuit, but also our pump, vaporizer supply pump, didn't seem to be operating correctly. So being that this is a work truck and needs to be on the road all the time, we've also changed that pump just to be on the safe side. But yeah, they're a funny pump. They don't seem to pump constantly. They sort of pulse, but yeah, our one wasn't doing that. So yeah, we changed both units. Hopefully you'll just get away with a vaporizer because they're both quite expensive. I think the pump was best part of £400 from Ford's, and the vaporizer I think was around about 300. But yeah, certainly the vaporizer is the more common item to fail. But good luck. I hope this may have helped some of you, and see you in the next one.